Welcome to It's All About Becoming, the podcast. I'm your host, Megan Alexandria. Hey, friends. So, listen, do you guys realize that 2026 will be here before you know it? It is literally around the corner. And so, as we get closer to the new year, there's something that I need to say as plainly as possible that I need you to grasp hold of today. And it's simply stop downplaying your excellence. Stop it. This is not the time. You cannot walk into 2026 minimizing yourself. Like that has to stop now. So if you have spent years downplaying your gifts, your calling, your talents, this cannot be another year of you dimming what God has placed in you. I know many of you are asking God for clarity on life. You're asking God for opportunities. You're asking God for doors to open, yet you're still hiding the very things that God has given you. And you cannot keep holding yourself back while also praying for the very future that your actions contradict. And because I know my audience, let me go ahead and add this little nugget in. Humility does have its place. Humility keeps your heart grounded and it keeps your motives in check. But listen, humility was never meant to silence your identity. It was never meant to shut down your voice. It was never meant to make you shrink into a version of yourself that God never asked you to be. There is a big difference between being humble and being hidden. And many of you are confusing the two. And I can say that because I know I have in the past. I've played small to keep the peace. I've minimized myself so no one would feel uncomfortable. I've minimized my own voice so I wouldn't be misunderstood. But here's the truth that I had to learn and something that you need to learn as well. Sometimes that's not personality because I thought that was my personality. I thought my personality was the nice girl, to be nice, to be agreeable all the time, which, yes, those are good qualities to have. But sometimes that's a survival response. And for many people, what looks like being quiet or being agreeable is really your body protecting you because conflict never felt safe. And that's actually called the fawn response. It's your nervous system learning to keep the peace at any cost. But when you are aware of it, you get to choose to be different. You get to choose the version of yourself that doesn't have to hide in order to just survive. 2026 is not the year of just surviving, but I really believe it's a year of thriving in who God has called you to be. And becoming requires you to stop hiding behind the habits that fear created. So, the habits that you created out of fear will not help you move forward in your personal life, and they are definitely not going to help your business or your brand move forward in 2026. Becoming starts in your mind. Okay, this was something I learned very early on as I was on this journey of just becoming, not just in my personal life, but becoming the CEO that God has called me to be. It all starts in your mind. Everything you believe about yourself shows up in your choices. Your self talk shapes your confidence. What you accept from people becomes your limitations. And if the mindset does not change and elevate, then nothing else around you is going to change. You can move, okay? You can move to a different location. But if your mindset does not change, then even when you move, the same thing is going to happen that has happened before. So 2026 will require a different kind of mindset, a mindset that is going to refuse to downplay what God placed inside of you. It's going to require a mindset that refuses to take the back seat and that refuses to blend in, especially when God is trying to move you forward. And listen, for some of you, this may not, again, be for everyone, but for some of you, you are a disruptor. I don't mean that in a messy way. I don't mean that in a negative way, But when I say that you are a disruptor in a God aligned way. This means that your presence is going to disrupt old patterns. Your gifts are going to disrupt tradition. Your ideas are going to challenge what has always been. Your anointing is going to create space where people didn't think that space even existed. And that's why blending in has never worked for you, because your difference is not the problem. Your difference is the assignment. And before you position yourself for anything in 2026, I want you to go ahead and think about your real goals for 2026. Not just the ideas, not just the things that you wish that you could do, but the actual goals, things that you can point to and say, this is what I am building. I know for many of us at the end of the year, we always try to do a vision list or vision board for the upcoming year. But this year, I really want you to sit down and think about what are the goals that I want to reach in 2026, because you cannot build a stronger version of yourself with vague intentions. Okay, you need targets that tell your mind where to aim, because entrepreneurship is difficult. Entrepreneurship is not easy. And if you do not have goals where your mind can aim to, then your mind is going to resort back to the old way of thinking, to the old mindset, to the old patterns. And then you're going to find yourself back in the same rut that you were in 25, 24, 23, 22, and so on. So you have to remember with your goals need to answer three things. What are you building? Who are you becoming? And what needs to change for that to happen? And when you set your goals around these three things, you are no longer guessing about what you need to do. Your goals become your accountability. They become the boundaries that keep you out of the rooms that you don't belong in. They become the structure that guides your decisions, your habits, your yeses, and your nos. Your goals are going to protect you. They keep you focused so you're not pulled into expectations, comparison, or old patterns. When you know your goals, you stop operating from impulse and you operate from a place of intention. So when you hear people say do things intentionally, you that means that you need to set the goals about what are the intentions that you have for the upcoming year. And I want you to remember that your goals need to match the version of you that you're growing into, not the version that you've already outgrown. And the only limitations that exist are the ones that you put on yourself or the ones that you agree from other people. So you have to really sit down and think about any limitation that you feel may come up, write down that limitation, and then look at it and think, is this a limitation that God has placed on me? Because He does give us limitations. So you have to look at, is this a limitation that God has placed, or is this a limitation I'm placing on myself, or is this a limitation that I'm agreeing with from someone else? And once your goals are clear, the next step is positioning yourself. And that's where these five things come in. So if I were your personal brand manager, helping you to step into who you are becoming, here are the five ways that you need to depend on your uniqueness to position yourself for 2026. All right, let's get into this list. So, the first thing that you need to do to differentiate yourself in 2026 is decide what you want to be known for. Okay, so your identity, your story, your point of view, these are things that set you apart. And these aren't just things that I'm saying, I'm just pulling them out of my mind, but these are real strategies that I would use with my clients as well. So, again, your identity, your story, and your point of view are the first things that you need to look at. You need to sit down and think about, what do I want to be known for? What's the area that I want to be an expert in? What's the one area that I want to focus on where it is going to allow me to thrive and be at my best. And I'm going to give you a really great example of this. So, when I started my marketing business, well, actually, at this time, I didn't start my marketing business. I was just doing stuff in marketing, as I put it. But when I first started in marketing, I was self taught in graphic design. That was the thing that everyone came to me for, was graphic design. And my expertise was in clean professional graphics. And so a lot of people will come to me specifically for that. And I quickly realized that graphic design was not my passion. It was not the thing that I thrive in. But graphic design was number one, the first thing that I taught myself. And I did that just to help my church save money. But then I also realized in doing that that people didn't understand everything about graphic design, and people didn't understand the strategy behind the graphic design. So as I would talk to entrepreneurs and founders, and they would tell me what they would want in their logos or on their websites or flyers made, they would tell me one thing and then my mind would go somewhere else, because I would think, well, if this is what they're trying to accomplish, then this particular graphic or design is not going to accomplish what they want. Because believe it or not, graphic design is supposed to accompany a strategy. And so I quickly realized that the area that I thrive in was not in graphic design, but the area that I thrive in is in the strategy behind the graphic design. So for the longest time, people knew me as a graphic designer. And so I didn't know what to do. So I just stopped doing everything. I stopped taking clients because I didn't want people to think that I was a graphic designer, because I was not a graphic designer. I was just someone who taught myself how to create graphics and blend things and, make these pretty things that I would see in my mind, make it come alive. And so I had to really decide, okay, is graphic design really the thing for me? And yes, it's a part of who I am overall because I am in marketing, but my expertise is in the strategic decisions that are made before you even get to the graphics. So, the first thing that you need to do to position yourself for 2026 is decide, what do you want to be known for? And along with understanding what you want to be known for is also knowing your perspective, because your perspective is your differentiator. Your perspective is going to help leverage your uniqueness in 2026. So, by this, let me give you an example. This is what I mean. So, for my business, one of my perspectives is that marketing is a relationship. So, when I teach marketing or when I'm working with a client, I'm going to hone in on the fact that you are marketing to people, you are not marketing to systems, you are not marketing to robots, you are marketing to people. And the people that you are marketing to, those are the most important people when it comes to your brand. Why? Because they are the ones who are investing in you. They are the ones who are buying from you. They are the ones who are loyal to your brand. They are the ones who are responsible for the word of mouth that every entrepreneur loves so much. They are the ones who are really going to help you grow. So you can't have growth without the people that you are serving. So one of the perspectives that I have as it pertains to marketing is a relationship. Marketing is more than just a transaction. I do not teach that marketing is transactional. I teach that marketing is relational. So that is a perspective that is not just unique to me. There are many marketers who feel the same way. It's just the perspective that my business leans on the most. So you have to do the same thing. What's your perspective? And not just in your business. So if you are building any type of brand, if you're building a personal brand, if you're building a nonprofit brand or a product-based brand or a service-based brand, whatever you are doing, even if you are an author, if you are a speaker, what is your unique perspective? That's the first thing that you need to decide. The second thing that you need to decide is to claim the audience you are called to serve and the role that you play in their life. Everything starts and ends with the audience. These are the most important people when it comes to your brand and when it comes to what you are growing and how you are growing. And it all starts with clarity in who you are speaking to and why do they need to hear your voice. Okay. Are you just talking just to be talking, or is there a reason that you're talking to this audience? And let me just go ahead and throw in this caveat because it's going to come up. Because every time I speak with an entrepreneur or a founder or a CEO, a lot of times they say, "Oh, my brand is for everyone. My business is for everyone." Let me go ahead and tell you, listen, do not argue with me on this one. Your brand is not for everyone. You have a target audience. Yes, you can have multiple segments of different types of audience, but you need to look at what is the perspective, what do I want to be known for, and who are the people who are positioned for what I am carrying at this time. Yes, you may be carrying multiple business and you have multiple ideas, but guess what? You cannot do them all at once. You have to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're looking at your 2026 and you're looking at what you are building, whatever kind of brand you are building, I want you to also look at who is positioned for what I am building. This means that you have to define the person that you are built to help. Every time I work with an entrepreneur, one of the first things we do is define their client profile. We create that avatar. And we create the avatar, we give the avatar a name. Why? Because again, marketing is relational and you are marketing to people. You are trying to promote to people. You are trying to attract people. Marketing is the art of attraction. So you have to define the person that you are built to help. You have to understand their reality. You have to understand the season that they're in right now because they might not be in a buying season when you are in the mood for them to buy. So you have to understand the season that they are in. You have to understand the reality that they are in. You have to clarify the transformation that you bring for them. You have to own your lane, your category, and your assignment because people don't buy confusion. They will not buy from you. They will not invest in you if you are confused. And guess what? They can tell. Trust me, they can tell. So you not only have to own all of your stuff, but you also have to be able to communicate it in a way that people are going to want to be attracted to what you have to offer. You have to position your voice for the people who are actually listening to you. And I tell people all the time, your friends and your family are not your target audience. Yes, they may support you just because, but 9 times out of 10, they are not your target audience. So you do not need to set your eyes simply on your hometown or simply on your group of friends or simply on the people around you that you may know. But you have to be confident enough to be able to help the people that you don't know because the people that you don't know are the people that are going to help your brand grow. Now, listen, I could go on and on about this subject, but I'm not going to. So let's move on to number 3 in our list. If I were your personal brand manager, this is the third thing that I would tell you to position yourself for 2026. You need to stand out through a unique blend of skills, methods, and ethics. And what I mean by this is you have to remember your difference is found in how you think, how you solve problems, and how you serve. So this means naming a skill combination that only you can bring, being able to communicate the approach that is distinctly yours. You can show the standard that you operate from. And with this one is actually, you don't have to speak about the standard that you operate from. You just need to be consistent in that standard that you operate from, and people will know. You don't have to always, if you're a Christian, you don't have to always tell everyone, oh, I'm a Christian based such and such, because the standard by which you live by, it's going to reflect in that regardless, or at least it should. So, in thinking about your unique skill set, remember that this is a combination that you bring to the table that others cannot duplicate. And it's not because they're not talented, but because your skills don't come from theory, but your skills come from experience, resilience, education, and most importantly, the way that God has wired you. So, again, this is going to look like the way that you think strategically, the clarity that you bring to a confused environment, the compassion that you bring into leadership, or the way that you simplify complicated things. It could even be the way that you communicate with authority, but you still bring peace. These are not random strengths, but these are part of your design. So think about your skill set, not just in your personality, but in the totality of everything that you do. And when it comes to your unique methodology, this is the how behind you do your work. So this is the way you solve the problem, the way you structure the decision, the way you break down steps, the way you organize ideas, or the way that you lead people. And your method becomes your signature. It's the quiet thing that people trust you for, even when they can't fully explain everything that you do. So, for example, my methodology is the Molex method. So, with the Molex method, we focus on three main things when it comes to moving a business forward. We look at the message, we look at the audience, and then from there, we look at the strategy in whole. So that is our methodology for moving a brand forward in their marketing. So, what is your methodology that you have for doing what it is that you do? What is your belief system in what you do? And when you think about your ethics, this is the part people underestimate the most. Okay, so your ethics are, of course, are your standards. They're also your boundaries, and the ethics are also your level of care. So this includes how seriously you take what God gave you. Okay, if you know that God has given you an idea and he's given you something, how serious are you taking it? How you honor people, that's part of the ethics. How you honor people, the quality that you deliver, even when no one is watching. Okay, the way that you stay committed to excellence, the decisions that you refuse to make out of fear, comparison, or pressure, these are all part of the ethics that make you unique. You have to remember that excellence is not perfection. So, excellence is integrity in action. Can people see your excellence? And in a world that is full of shortcuts with AI and everything going on, your ethics will set you apart. Okay, and let's get into the fourth thing that I would tell you if I was your personal brand manager is to build trust with consistency and alignment. So people trust you when who you are, what you say, and how you show up when they all match. When all three of those things match, then that's how you gain the trust of your audience. So 2026 needs to be a year of quality, consistent, and aligned experiences. So this looks like showing up with the same voice everywhere that you go. And when I say voice, I mean showing up with the same tone everywhere you go. And this is something that when you are determining who you are, you can determine how is your voice going to sound in each room that you're in. Of course, when you are before your audience, you're going to speak in a language and a voice that they can understand and that they can relate to. But you might speak differently when you are speaking to investors. And when I say different, it's not that you're hiding or being someone different. It's just that you have to speak in the language of the person that you're speaking to. Okay, the next thing is to keep your message clear and steady across every platform. This is part of consistency. Make sure that when people go to your social media or if they go to your website or if they go to your LinkedIn, everywhere they go, it says the same thing about who you are. Okay. And then you need to let people feel the same confidence and clarity, whether they meet you online, in person, or through any type of event. When people see you online and they see how you respond and they see how you talk online and they start getting excited when they meet you in person, it needs to be the same thing. And I'm sure all of us can relate where we have all seen someone online that we were excited to meet and then we saw them in person and it was completely different and we felt like we were catfished. So you don't want to do that to your audience, and not just your audience, but to investors or any other person that may be watching your brand. You don't want to do that to them. You want to make sure that the same confidence and clarity that you have online is the same confidence and clarity that you have in person and through your work experience with them. Okay. You also want to create a rhythm that makes you dependable. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. Create a rhythm that makes you dependable. People need to depend on you. They need to depend on what you say. Is your brand doing what you say your brand is doing? That's your brand promise. Okay, so you don't want to make promises that you know you cannot keep. So, again, in looking at who you are and looking at how you're defining your brand, you need to also think about realistically, can I carry out what I say I'm carrying out? And lastly, for this point, you want to deliver experiences that confirm who you say you are. This is one of my favorite ones because I love to do event marketing. I love it because it really allows for you to have your audience experience you as a whole. They can experience you intimately. They can experience you in a way that others can't. And that's how relationships are built. And lastly, the fifth thing that I would tell you if I were your personal brand manager is to make sure that you have a message that is repeatable. What I mean by that is this: you have a core message. There is a message that God has given you for the audience that He has positioned you for. You want to make sure that you have a repeatable message, meaning that once the audience hears you, once the people that you're serving really connect with you, they are able to repeat it on your behalf. This is how word of mouth is effective because everyone loves word of mouth. Number one, because it's free. But I always tell people you have to be careful with word of mouth because you are at the discretion of the people that is talking. So if they're talking negative things, that's what's spreading. If they're talking positive things, that's what's spreading. But you can't control what they're saying, but you can control the narrative of when they interact and how they interact with you and your brand. So when they do interact with you, when you do position yourself, make sure you have a message that is repeatable. So that way they can repeat the same thing that you are saying, and therefore it's going to eliminate any confusion about who you are. It's going to eliminate confusion about what you stand for. It's going to eliminate confusion about who you work with. Remember that authority is built through value and not volume, and that your difference is your advantage. It is not your obstacle, it is not your hindrance, but your difference is the thing that is going to get you through the doors that you have been praying for. I know that 2026 is going to be an amazing year. And I know we say this every year, but I have a really good feeling about 2026 and the things that we will all accomplish. I know that there will be more authors, that there will be more speakers, that there will be more CEOs, and there will be more executives that who are going to move in the purpose that God has given them. You are going to move in the plans that God has for you, and you are going to do it unapologetically. You're going to do it with purpose and in purpose. You're going to do it with a community of people around you who are really cheering you on. And I want you to know that I am one of those people. I am cheering you on right here in Georgia. No matter where you are in the world, I'm cheering you on because I know that God has called you to do more. And I know that in 2026, you are not going to just think about it, but you are going to do it. So, friends, I want you to know that I am building a community of believers who are there for one another, who are cheering on one another. So, drop in the comments what you plan to do in 2026 so we can be praying for you, so we can be thinking about you, and we can be encouraging you in any way that we can. And before we end, of course, we're going to do our something sweet. And our something sweet actually comes from a book that I read. The book is called She Speaks Out Loud, The Story Journal. The author is named Miss Michelle D. Wilson. She is an amazing author. This is an amazing book. I will put the link for the book in the description. So please make sure that you support her. She has been an amazing blessing to my life. This book that she wrote is amazing. It's really going to help you to define your story and to tell your story out loud and to no longer hide behind your story any longer. And just understand that there is a healing process that comes from just speaking out loud. So that's why I chose this for today's Something Sweet. And the chapter is titled Mismanagement of My Gift. And it reads, it wasn't until I surrendered to the calling that was and is on my life that I would wander off on what someone else's gifts were and tried it. If this is you, you may want to stop while you're ahead. It only leaves you in exhaustion of running around in circles that can be unproductive, pointless, and without purpose. Without purpose, for you to be exact. God made us all unique in His own image. He designed us to do the things according to what we can handle, to what we are challenged and changed by. What do I mean by that? I'm glad that you asked. Everything that we go through individually isn't designed to hurt us, although some things do hurt indeed. So I'm not downplaying that things didn't put me in a place where I thought or felt that some positives can come out of this. My reasoning for this was that I focused on the pain and the problem a bit longer than I was supposed to, not realizing that just being there for someone was giving your time, your energy, which is called serving others genuinely. And to God, this means a lot. We are supposed to be helpers of one another. And I didn't think this was a gift because it wasn't anything that others could see. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Let's say this together again. It's not about me. The only way I repeat in knowing this is by knowing God, by building a consistent relationship with Him. I don't know what you like to do or what makes you feel all excited just thinking about. You go to sleep thinking about it and wake up and it's still on your mind. Whatever it is, find that niche and do it to the best of your ability. And if you would like to order your copy of She Speaks Out Loud, the story journal, you can go to michellewilsonbooks.com. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I greatly appreciate it. Remember, you can help support this podcast by liking it, sharing it, and commenting your thoughts. So I love reading the comments and love interacting with you guys in the comments. And until next time, see you later, friends.